Good morning, St. Louis and world. I'm Travis Terrell. Welcome to We Are Live. See how I included not only my hometown, but the rest of the world? That's what an international screenwriter does. And that's me. And he's Chris. But me? How you doing, baby girl? What you got on right now? It's kind of cold outside, a little snow. You trying to get under my fire? I got some logs we can burn all night long.
Somebody say something. I can't.
Chris is troubled.
I generally am. Hey, everybody. Good morning. So we are live. We're live from Midcoast Studio.
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez. Oh, yeah.
I played that up.
The coronavirus is here.
Yeah. Our friends at Tech Electronics make this wonderful studio possible. Big thanks to them. They even help with the headphones that Travis is adjusting right now. Show off that head, baby.
Thank you.
We've got lots to get to today. Have some interesting things to talk about. We'll go back to the future. I don't know what that means. Let's say hi to Chris Gardner. Hello, Mr. Gardner.
Good morning, gentlemen. Why are we going back to the future?
I have no clue.
I don't I'm not sure. We'll see
I
what
can tell
happens.
how much of coffee Chris has had in the morning just based on how he rolls out his intros. I think he just had his first cup, if I'm not mistaken, just based on that particular intro.
I'm halfway through my first one.
Let's not rule out CTE sometimes. as well.
You got that, Aaron Hernandez?
Oh, be careful.
Oh, boy.
I do not find men attractive. I'm sorry.
And you.
Yet! Wait till you get
Yeah,
CTE.
couple
Things
A
change.
couple more bumps. Somebody saying,
Oh,
"Hey,
you mean
nice
attractive,
jeans."
attractive. You could say that a man's attractive, though.
Not attracted to men.
Correct. There you go.
According to the documentary, that's what did it. Was taking a bunch of routes across the middle that apparently turned Aaron Hernandez gay, thus into a murderer.
I'm not sure that's how that all works.
Don't
Yeah.
think so. I don't know the science behind it, but it was in a
No,
documentary.
there are
Doc, I've
issues.
gotten really into physical fitness and fashion. I think it's that hammer hitting me in the head. I'm not sure.
Aaron
I've real-
Michael Hernandez, please.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know why more people haven't done that. Yeah, that's strange.
Have you seen that documentary, by the way?
No, I haven't.
Excuse me.
I watch enough stuff. I will watch it because it's interesting.
I
or
don't think I'm
whatever.
going to watch it.
I don't always jump right in on the death stuff. We got so much coverage of it and everything, and I have no doubt
It was
it's
very
really
recent
good.
too. It was very recent too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like I have no. I watched that Don't F with Cats.
I did not. I heard. I found out what the twist was to that, and I decided not to.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, I decided not to.
Pretty
jump
wild.
down that.
What's the twist?
Don't F with Cats, hunting an internet serial
Isn't it
killer.
about the
hunting
guy?
an internet killer?
Isn't it about this guy that eventually evolves to murdering this woman on camera? No, am I wrong in that assessment?
You're wrong. It's the concept you're throwing out is okay, but it wasn't a
Okay.
woman, and there's so much more to it.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it's basically some internet sleuthing takes you down a rabbit hole, and
Discover.
yes, there's a disturbed individual doing some bad things. So I don't want to give too much away, but there's a lot going on. It's worth the watch, and it makes you just like that.
I don't know how Netflix
Oh,
is.
no. Yeah. Hold on.
Okay, that's
There
what
we
it
go.
does.
I wanted
Okay.
that again.
No, that's fair. I don't know how much money Netflix is spending on documentaries, but I think it's probably the bread and butter of their system right now.
Probably if you're talking low cost, high potential, maybe. Because
Yeah.
I know for a fact they turned down some really well made documentaries. And
Really?
Then a movie similar to the documentary got made, and they were like, "Oh, hey, what you got there?"
Right.
So they pulled out. So they're smart. Like whatever's hot or whatever, they'll put it
Yeah.
out there. Yeah. So it's interesting. Yeah.
They have a series called Dirty Money, where it just basically looks at some of the most notable cons performed by corporate entities around the
corporate
world.
entities. Okay.
And it's pretty damning, and it's just like, oh, man, sweet Jesus. But Netflix consistently does a very good job when it comes to the documentary. The Aaron Hernandez documentary was peculiar, the way they went about it. They essentially, in a roundabout way, just asserted that, while we have, documented evidence that CTE and a very abusive childhood ultimately led to him being what he ended up being, which was this over-aggressive murderer. Ultimately implied that, or it could have been gay, or it could just been the gayness that made him want to kill. And people were like, I believe he may have been. Yes, he probably maybe have been gay, maybe had a lover. I don't think that was the onus or the reason why he decided to go out and
I would
murder
be
people.
suspect, and I haven't seen it. I don't know that it will, but I would be suspect of anything that draws an absolute conclusion
Right.
at this point.
And now it doesn't.
Now, I don't mind exploring the possibilities or what might have led to, or more than one thing.
Right.
But to draw an absolute
Right.
conclusion, I would probably have an issue with.
They were introducing, I guess, witnesses or characters to the documentary that didn't have anything directly tied to the case and Aaron Hernandez. So it felt like they were, in a roundabout way, painting the picture that because, other athletes have, quote unquote, struggled to come out of the closet or, be a professional and also gay at the same time, that was similar to Aaron's struggle. Thus, Aaron internalized that struggle, which forced him to act out, which a lot of people,
Yeah.
especially.
I mean, that's not. I mean, that's
But the drug.
not unusual.
It's not unusual, but that the way they tried, there was no connecting of that dot. It was just, oh yeah, by the way, he was gay, so that could also be a reason. And you're just like, if you're going to say that, then let's connect those dots.
Then explore it. Some.
Yes, exactly. And they
Give
did
some
not
reasoning,
do
some
that.
documentation.
Yeah. Yes. And that's what you would want out of a documentary. Now, if you're sitting up here, yeah, we're talking about fiction, okay, but we're talking about if you're going to do the totality of his life and you're going to connect every other dot as to how he ended up killing these people, then if you're going to introduce this new narrative, you
And
should
himself.
also connect it as well. Yeah. So, but no, it's Netflix does a very good job with a lot of their documentaries, even if you don't agree with them or how they go about in doing them. They're still pretty
What's
powerful
the one?
stuff.
There was one about a Nazi guy that I knew.
Yeah, that was the Devil Next Door, I believe
Yeah, I
that was
haven't
called.
watched
That
that one
was
yet.
the one I ended up watching one weekend with my sisters, and my sisters are not into documentaries. They don't. They're 18, 19-year-olds. They don't care for that, and they sat down and watched. I think it was maybe 5 episodes. We watched 5 straight hours of this, and it is, for me, it was one of the most riveting documentaries over the last year.
Yeah.
So if you have not seen it, please check it out. We talked about it briefly, I think, on the show a few weeks ago. But essentially, this guy is considered one of the worst Nazis of all time, and he was thought to be dead. But there was some evidence that came about that he was actually living in Cleveland, and it was.
I
It
mean,
was
they
so
made it out. It went all over the place.
it was
Quite a few of them.
It's very visceral. You have to watch it. I can't even attempt to give it away. It's just so surreal because the people who went through the concentration camp in which he worked are so certain it's him. They're definite it's him. They're certain it's him. And they're passionate and they're crying and their families are. It becomes this whole story and it's just wildly fascinating and it just shows the horrors, if we didn't already know, of course, of the Holocaust and how it was so lasting for that generation.
That is something that
decades
that
later.
I have trouble watching. Like I can't
Yes.
watch that stuff anymore.
It's tough. Like I didn't know that's where the story was going when I started it, but once you got going, you're like, well, I gotta find out if this
And
the
it's
guy
not-
who they say it is.
It's not that I'm saying like footage and stuff
Yes,
from the camps.
very
and that.
difficult,
Like
and it's in this documentary. So
I've
you're right.
seen enough of that
Yes.
now. It's not that I'm ignoring it. It's to me that I've seen enough of it that I've been impacted enough by it.
Right.
That I'd rather not. I dwell enough on things.
Sure.
I'd rather not have that lingering with me, because that's the kind of thing that'll linger with you for several days.
And then you can see that type of effect that it was having on this community, and how it was having, of course, on the Jewish residents, because it's just the idea. Just like I was trying to picture it as the person that was the greatest slave killer of all time, and you found out that he was a couple of blocks around from where you lived, how that visceral reaction would be for the blacks in your community. That's what it was for a lot of these Jewish residents, where this is considered one of the greatest massacres of the World War II, and dear Lord, he's 2 miles from our synagogue. Like it was just an incredibly surreal documentary, so I would recommend that as well. But
And-
Netflix
and
is pretty
that-
good money when it comes to docs.
And the thing is, too, Because when we think of documentaries, we think of, serious material a lot. Like one of my favorite documentaries of all time is not like that.
Which one is that for you?
The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters.
Explain a little bit of the
That
premise if you
that
don't
goes
mind.
down as one of the best ever.
I
It
don't think I'm not
is-
familiar with that.
It's
Can you just give me an overview?
Yeah, okay. Here, let me look at the. Here's a description.
Okay.
This is you type the King of Kong into the Google box.
Okay. In the
And
box
this
of Google.
is what it spits out. It's a 97 according to Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh,
By the
wow.
way, we'll play Dogs on Film or on film later.
Thank you.
Named Video Game Player of the Century in 1999, Billy Mitchell sets a record score in Donkey Kong that many felt would never be broken. In 2003, Steve Wiebe, who has recently lost his job, learns about the record, sets out to beat it, and does. So both men embark on a cross-country battle for inclusion in the 2007 Guinness Book of World Records as the supreme king of the electronic game.
Oh, wow.
And like this, Billy Mitchell guy's got like a mullet,
Uh-huh.
and he makes hot sauce.
Uh-huh.
This Wiebe guy like lost his job.
Oh.
But I think I don't know if he was tech or maybe something in that area, but he built something in his garage to beat this game. And like the way they do this, I guess, is you can videotape yourself
Right.
playing the game and submit the tape for like evaluation to see if you get credit for a record.
Wow.
And so there's like disputes over what is legit and what isn't, and they end up at arcade. To me, it's just it was fun.
Okay. I
It was
gotta
a
check it
really
out.
fun. It was interesting to me.
Does the internet
It-
say what platform that's on?
It was one of the first ones on Netflix.
It's on YouTube,
Okay. Oh, okay. Well,
Amazon Prime,
Okay.
iTunes, Google Play, Vudu,
uh-huh.
and Hulu. It looks like.
Okay. Okay. I have, I think, 3 of those, so I can check it out.
I would check. It's $2.99 on most of those, but
Okay.
I will tell you, it's entertaining. It's an
Okay.
entertaining documentary.
I like those
because
documentaries.
we understand what most documentaries are, and that's fine.
Right.
But there's ways to mix it in, and I think that's why some people like this one is because it's a documentary,
Right.
but it's weirder. It's a little different.
Well, that's why I'm looking forward to the new HBO documentary about a story we talked about a few months ago about the McDonald's game piece fraud. McMillions
yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah.
documentary that's going to appear on HBO. McMillions, I believe, if it's not this weekend, it's next. But of course, they're going to explore one of the most surreal frauds in the history of this country, and it involved the Monopoly game from McDonald's, and it involved mobsters, it involved old folks' homes, it involved just such a random cast of characters. So it's a documentary on HBO, and I believe,
Where did this all begin?
And
Del Mar Gardens.
and I think it is Mark Wahlberg's production company that has the film rights.
What's the name of his production
I
company?
cannot remember.
It's not like Wahlburgers or anything like that.
I don't think so.
Why wouldn't he do that?
I think it's I got away with beating a minority in my teens and was able to have a second act of my life. Productions,
Because he's a Christian now.
yes. But I'm curious to see how that plays out. That documentary is going to be it's one of the ones this year that I'm very much looking forward to because the story itself sounds so Hollywood.
I can't remember the writer we had on the
We did have the
radio
writer
side.
on. It was I forget his name. I'm just drawing a
I
blank.
follow him on Twitter now too.
But it was
British fella.
It was a great.
Lives out in Los Angeles.
It is a fascinating story about this guy who worked security, he was the head of security for McDonald's,
Jeff Maish.
and the funny thing about that is that the guy didn't even have a history of being like a fraud security expert. So you're wondering why the hell did McDonald's hire him in the first place? But the guy was essentially, I think, head of security, responsible for the gaming and the travel of the pieces and things like that. And he took advantage of the system. He found, he knew what was in each container and which game piece had the big wins, and he would give them and sell them to his friends or people he knew, and they would win cars and money and houses. And it was fascinating because for years, what did we all do when we played the Monopoly game? We all thought it was rigged because we're just like, we never hear about these people who win, and it just never really happened. It never came to pass, people winning these big prizes, and then you come to discover, oh shit, there was a guy running fraud the entire time.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that doc from HBO.
Can we get like that to be somewhat of a basis for like Ocean's 21
That would be
whenever we get
great.
there? or
Oh
something?
god, that'd be great.
Ocean's American consumerism.
Yeah.
Yeah, McDonald's being involved with that, like that's just the ultimate, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, has anyone won more than a free burger?
I think I knew a friend that maybe got a free soda, a medium soda, Sprite one time, but that's probably about it. But it was funny because you would see the commercials and be like, I want this brand new Viper. And you're like, first of all, no one even drives a Viper. Secondly, no, you didn't. This is bullshit. And you come to find out it was bullshit. So, man.
My suspicions were true.
I think
What else do I believe is true?
I
See,
think-
this is what it does then too.
Yeah.
It allows certain theories in people's minds to make them think that they might be right about other things that they're not right about.
See?
When just one thing happens, like say 1 out of 10 are right, now you start assuming the other 9 are right.
See? That's why I keep.
It's not fair.
Guess what I did this week? I introduced the face-off theory to Mother.
It's maybe something you shouldn't do.
Your mother?
And she immediately threw blessed oil on me and started praying for me.
How's that go?
She just.
Didn't even respond. Just threw the oil on you.
See, this is now. What did you do?
And I was like, oh.
See, if my mom would have done that to me, I would have went like it was burning.
No, my mom would have then threw more oil on me.
Oh.
It's like, oh, good, it's getting out. It must be working. More.
We'll burn it out of you.
Apparently, she's not a fan of my face-off theory.
What did she have any words to describe it?
She loves Ellen, and that was enough.
Oh,
for her.
that's where you
She
went
was
wrong.
like,
Wait.
okay. Okay.
The rest of it, but the fact that if it was anybody else but Ellen, it might have sold her.
I think she wasn't on board to begin with, but she wasn't in a state where she wanted to pour blessed oil on me. When I got to the Ellen part of the story or my theory,
Keep Ellen
that's
out your
when-
mouth.
Yeah, you keep Ellen out. Whatever love and devotion she had for Oprah when Oprah retired naturally transferred over to Ellen, understandably. And so I can't be even joking about Ellen. She loved Ellen too much. Like, you see Ellen give them kids who dance on the internets $75,000 for the rest of their life? Oh, Lord, I love Ellen.
She gave $75,000.
Man, Ellen just be giving away. Ellen, white woman Oprah?
Has she seen my friend Sean?
Oh, well, I don't think he's kind of a...
Sean deserves
dance
money if
video.
that's the case.
I wouldn't. Well, can Sean dance on
Have
Instagram?
you seen him dancing at the
I have.
jukebox?
It's very possible. I just don't
The man
think,
wears underwear like nobody's business.
I think he might just be a little bit too gruff. Or maybe you can put him on the Kelly Clarkson show.
When he,
Maybe he's a Kelly Clarkson guy.
yeah,
He's not ready for Ellen.
People have sidekicks again now on some of these
Oh,
shows.
no, I don't
that
think
right?
Ellen.
Do you think Sean would be a good sidekick on
I
a
don't-
show?
I don't-
Yes.
I don't
I'm
know.
not saying Ellen's show, but I'm just saying on somebody's show.
Chelsea Handler's dude, Chewy, recently passed away.
Mm-hmm. Does she still have a show?
She does something.
Okay.
I don't know. She got money.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that might if someone's show, because he could also be your like expert below deck correspondent. I don't know what channel that's on.
I think it's on Pop TV.
It's on
I don't know
Pop-
either. I think
it's
it's
on
Pop,
Bravo?
but it sounds like it's a Pop TV show. It's on Bravo.
It might be.
Maybe it's on Bravo.
He was watching a marathon yesterday when I saw him.
Yeah. So do celebrities go on this thing?
Not that I think
I
there
think
was.
it's just pure insanity on a boat.
Below
Yeah,
deck?
not normally, but I think on one
I
of
saw
them
one with Jamel Hill.
there was one where a Real Housewife was
Yeah.
on one. So there might be some at times because
Okay.
they're on a yacht.
Right. Okay. I had to check that out.
He loves that show.
Sean, I pray for him every day. Maybe I might have my mom come by Rosie's and throw some blessed oil on him too.
If she comes by Rosie's, she's probably going to need a lot of blessed
Yeah,
oil.
she's probably gonna need to bring the fire hydrant into
mean,
that place, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, you've only seen
Dan-
a little bit of what.
So
that's
God
about.
heaven, I was just like, I have done my fair share of narcotics and drinking in my life, and I'm still not comfortable being in this place. And it wasn't because of the people, because the people were incredibly nice and polite. It was just like, this is a new level of adult barring that I am not at yet.
It's
Would you call it a
professional.
send in?
Yeah, that's what it is. But I feel like I hate saying it's a send-in because it wasn't like people were in there sinning or doing anything different than you would in any other bar. It was just like the vibe is, if you ain't here to do drinking, then we gonna look at you funny all night long, fella.
Yeah.
And that time we went in, we were actually there just for a meeting, so I couldn't get my drink on. So I really felt bad.
Well, you were with. I'm a retired drinker.
Yes, you are.
I might be in the Hall of
Oh,
Fame.
the people are incredibly nice. That's one thing about dive bars, hole in the walls, is that the people generally are incredibly nice, and they actually love seeing new faces from time to time. So I actually enjoyed my time.
They
at
get to
Rose's.
show off their little neighborhood dive a little bit. People that come in.
Chris and I used to do a lot of diving and a lot of holes in the walls back in our day.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, my friend Chris and I. If you
Like a glory hole for you, or what
I
do you
wouldn't
mean?
call it a glory hole,
Oh.
but there was some
the bar
holes and there was some
itself.
glory. I can tell you that, if you know what I mean. Huh? You remember that one time? You were
Kinda
there.
shaped the thing.
Okay,
I
well,
thought-
we did that
I
a lot.
thought he
We
was
would go to
gonna
the
do
holes
that.
in the wall and be like, hey, girl.
Oh, that seems.
That probably was too much, and I'll probably get an email about that later. But
maybe
yeah, but for the
more.
most part.
Maybe more than that.
Probably more blessed oil.
Yeah. Yeah, if Mom heard that one, she'd empty it out on you.
You know who may need some blessed oil? Oh, hold on. I did that wrong. You know who may need some blessed oil and a little prayer this morning? David Schwimmer, that's who. You know, the guy who played Ross off Friends.
Yeah, delightful character.
David Schwimmer recently has done some interviews saying that he was one of the few voices, apparently, on set that encouraged creators and writers and directors to bring more blacks into.
Hold on. I
Their
want you
show,
to, I
the
want you to
series
keep
Friends.
talking. Just keep talking.
Okay. And David Schwimmer, who, of course, is a huge. He's Chris Denman's favorite comedic actor, David Schwimmer. I have to preface that. Was essentially having this interview where he said he would love to see a Friends where it's an all Asian cast or an all black cast. And David Schwimmer, probably not realizing it, Chris, absolutely stepped into it when he said that.
Did he?
He did, and here's why. Friends, this may come as a surprise to you, was not an original concept. In fact, there was a show that was Friends before Friends, and it was called Living Single, and it was about 4 black women.
Watched it.
So a lot of people online were very happy to remind David Schwimmer that, hey, we did have a all black Friends. It was the concept that NBC took. It was called Living Single. So Erica Alexander, who played Maxine Shaw, attorney at law on Living Single, she
Living single.
and it was a very popular show for a very long time. And she and the rest of the internet took the time to remind David Schwimmer of the histories and the origins of Living Single. So it trended all day yesterday on Twitter. And I get what Schwimmer was attempting to do. And I think the thing that, and I know a lot of people may simply just roll their eyes at it when it comes to, because they're like, hey, it's TV, it's Friends, what's the big deal? I think it kind of speaks to what we've seen out of the entertainment industry for decades. As far as that there's an original concept and then it gets whitewashed and it becomes this phenom and people forget about the original.
And then when it becomes a phenom, and then they have like their first African American character,
It's
on it, becomes a
celebrated
big
like, yeah, it comes
deal.
up celebrated like a big deal. And I think
Was it, like when you say it was like an offshoot? Was it like officially an offshoot, or or are people just saying the relatively very same concept was already done?
I think it's
it wasn't
that,
like officially.
But I think there's a comment somewhere that
Mm-hmm.
lends credence to that, and
I have no doubt.
Yeah.
They do this shit all the
I
time.
think it's more what you were saying there, like, hey, there's evidence, you know, you can
Correct,
connect
right.
the dots or whatever.
And people
but
were
I think there's a comment by someone affiliated with NBC that people read into to say, oh, really? Like, it was something about, like, if you could have whatever show, what would it be, or something like that. And it was like Living Single. And then several years later, here's Friends or something like that. It's something along those lines.
Yeah.
I'm not completely sure.
Oh, and I'm
And
sure that's exactly what it was.
and yeah, and people were pointing out, obviously, Living Single came out in 1993, while Friends came out in 1994. Now, was it a straight up and down ripoff? No, but people are ultimately saying Friends was a all-white ripoff of Living Single, as opposed to let's create a new show for all Asian or all blacks that were like Friends, and people were
Like,
just saying,
basically, you don't need to reboot
right,
Friends like that because it's already happened.
right, exactly.
okay.
Yeah, and so, and also, but it also is a thing that people.
David Schwimmer meant well in what he was saying.
There's no doubt that he meant well. I think, though, it speaks to how we are so quick to forget things
I say that-
because it doesn't have any involvement with white America. So it was just completely negated. Like, and David Schwimmer maybe, but this was a very popular show for a very long time on a major network. And so the idea that, oh, they should make an all-black Friends, is kind of like a slap in the face to a lot of those creators who were like, well, we actually did a show before Friends with all black women. And one thing that black women consistently say that in many respects is very true is that they're often forgotten as if they didn't exist. And for Schwimmer, it kind of felt a bit out of touch. And I know he didn't mean it on purpose, but it feels out of touch again when you create something that's similar like Living Single with an icon like Queen Latifah, and people just forget it because, let's be honest, it's a cast of all black women created by a black woman. So it's kind of like, again, Hollywood, again, like, you guys say you want to be as progressive as you want, but then there are moments like this that expose your blind spots. So, I mean, like, again, it's great to mean well, and I'm glad Schwimmer pushed that. I think the idea that you can live in New York and know people of color frequently come across the paths of the people that are in those lives is silly.
Sounds delightful.
I bet you think so, Farmington. So that's why your boy David Schwimmer, I don't think he got dragged by Black Twitter, but I think they were just like, hey, Dave.
Sounds like
Who's
he's
Black Twitter been dragging lately?
Not too many folks.
Terry Crews. What did Terry Crews do?
Alex, Terry Crews is...
That's the one I saw, and I'm like, I don't know if I could, if I'm going to understand.
I'll
this
do
one
my best to
completely.
try to kind of break down the Terry Crews situation. So Terry Crews, of course, as we remember, less than a year ago, Terry Crews came out as a part of the Me Too movement, and he said one of the more prominent agents in Hollywood at a party
grabbed his dick
came up to him and grabbed his dick in front of his wife. Twice. And Terry Crews went on this, of course, this public relations tour where he was getting his story out. And in doing so, a lot of people, including a lot of black women, including Gabrielle Union, I'll tell you why she's important to the story in just 1 second, came out and supported. Say, Terry, we are behind you. We completely understand your plight. As women in Hollywood, we've had to endure the same. So it's not necessarily surprising to hear a man have to go through it as well. That speaks volumes to your courage for you to come out and talk about this incident, because I'm sure that's not easy to do publicly. So you had a lot of these people come out and fully support. They didn't necessarily say, hey, we'll wait till the evidence or we'll wait till the story comes out. Terry Crews was very passionate and sincere about what took place with him at that party. And a lot of actors, actresses, many of them black, stuck their necks out there and said, you know what? I know this is a powerful agent, but he's right. I'm supporting Terry Crews. So as we know recently, America's Got Talent has had some issues with people of color, specifically Gabrielle Union, who, according to reports, was essentially told to tone down her blackness, tone down her black girl attitude. This is according to Gabrielle Union and many reports. There has been now follow-up reports about kind of toxic behavior, Simon Cowell kind of at the center of it, that was taking place at America's Got Talent. So NBC's been doing this massive review. So recently, Terry Crews appeared on the Today Show. Terry Crews was talking about the upcoming season of America's Got Talent, and one of the anchors, of course, in the Today Show then asked Terry Crews about the environment, because he's a host on there, and he knows, you know, the lay of the land, and being a black man, a black entertainer. What happened? What did he see? And Terry Crews essentially said, I said, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to the sexism, which was a statement that punched a lot of people in the face. Said, but I am black, so I can speak to the race. And so I never experienced any racial issues while I was on set. The people were amazing. I don't know Gabrielle Union's experience, so on and so forth. I think people would have been okay with that statement. A lot of people were like, that's interesting. It's a different tone you're taking now when it's somebody else, but okay. He couldn't stop there. He sent out a tweet that essentially said, I don't have to care about any other woman. The only woman I have to please is my wife. I don't have to worry about any other actress. I don't have to worry about even my daughter, my mother, or even my own grandmother. He just simply said, my wife is the most important person in the world. That's the only person I care about in regards to their opinion. And so that naturally got people upset, because they were saying, okay, so now the only people that matter are when they're directly connected to you. But when people stuck their necks out there to support you, they weren't relatives. They
Well,
weren't thinking of you as a father figure or a brother or a husband.
If that's your attitude, then you can see why there might have been an issue on the set right away.
And there you go. And Gardner,
And that's not even hard.
there you go. And Gardner thus ended the lesson. And then so people were like, wait a minute, hold up. That even like I said, even the sexism comment, you don't have to be a woman to see sexism. That's fucking stupid. Oh, I see that. I see that woman getting treated differently, but I have a dick and balls, so I don't know what that is. Like that to me that's just the same way as if Chris turned around and said,
Yeah, you might recognize it and view it differently,
right.
but there's certain things you can.
But Chris even
But if you're maybe you're the problem.
Yes. Yes. And that was the thing, and I think that's what really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way is that Terry, you wanted your voice to count. You wanted your voice to be heard. Here's now Gabrielle Union expressing similar angst, similar issues of harassment, and all of a sudden you forget about your own plight. And that was really, it's literally be the equivalent of you or Chris going, yeah, I saw some racist shit, but I'm white, so I can't speak to it.
Yeah.
That's silly. So for him to, again, follow it up with all of these tweets about it's just about his wife, that's the only person he cares about, it flies in the face of where he was a year ago when he was hoping everybody would come out and support his story. So that's why he's being dragged lately. It's a very unfortunate development with Terry Crews because he seems like a likable guy, but I think this also speaks to why a lot of people are, that's that's why men, I think, get a lot of heat because it's kind of a fucked up situation.
I just didn't understand what was going on Black Twitter. Because like I said, it's not my place to be involved.
Right.
I'm not part of the culture. But I like to observe. I like to see what's going on. Just to see if I can gain a little bit of knowledge. And I saw like some sort of meme with Chris Evans.
Right.
And then something with Terry Crews. And I'm like, okay, something's going on. Because I see his name being mentioned a lot.
Right.
And now someone brought Chris Evans into it. And how they like him or something. And then people were like, oh, no, you didn't. And I'm like, okay, why are they saying that? And so I needed you to explain to me what the hell was going on Black Twitter and why all of a sudden I've seen Chris Evans and Terry Crews.
And it's the double down, I think, that did it. Here are a couple of tweets that really had people like, huh? I'm a hog. You're a chicken. Just because you gave me eggs don't mean I owe you bacon. And then the tweet that really got people in an uproar. There is only one woman. This is
Ross Perot?
I have no freaking clue what the hell that was even about.
If you take a porcupine
Right.
and light it on fire on the bar, and I put it out with my piss.
It sounds like something Joanne Bennett from The Office would say. I'm a hog and you're a chicken. Just because you gave me eggs don't mean I owe you bacon.
Oh.
That sounds like a Joanne Bennett kind of thing.
I have a friend who has these colloquialisms, and that sounds like
I think
something.
getting old is the best part of coming up with those.
Yeah.
So I think the worst one I've said, and my aunt said this one time, like if my grandpa thinks that you should be more organized or be ready or do whatever, he's like, make sure you get your shit in a pile. Like he says, shit in a pile. And my aunt was like, I said that once, and people looked at me like I was a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, I have too.
Yeah.
It was like, because you hear that.
Why would I pile
Get
up
your
my
shit
shit?
in
I
a
don't
pile.
do
Like,
that.
what
I don't
shit?
wanna do that.
Why would I do that?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any. It's like my friend says, I'm as drunk as Hogan's goat. Remember when you're dating yourself?
It's like Hogan's Heroes?
Yeah.
Mm.
And so it's like, I'm like, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
That means you're drunk because
Yeah.
I'm watching you and I can see it.
If there has to be a book. Maybe I'll just look it up on Google, but there has to be a book of Southern colloquialism.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could find if it's really generational, I think too.
Yeah.
Like if you just find a mid-70s-year-old person around St. Louis, you're going to be able to find some colloquialisms.
Mm-hmm.
This is the tweet that really set people off. There's only one woman there's only one woman on earth I have to please. Her name is Rebecca. Not my mother, my sister, my daughters.
Rebecca De Mornay.
Or co-workers. I will let their husbands, boyfriends,
Rebecca
partners
Lobo?
take care of them. Rebecca gives me wings. Rebecca being his wife. What
about the
peculiar
wind?
statement. It's such a weird statement to say. It's such a weird, especially not my mother, my sister, my daughters, or co-workers. I will let their husbands, boyfriends, partners take care of them. That's so peculiar.
It's kind of narrow.
It's very narrow, but it's also, like I said, it's another.
How's mom feel right now?
But I would imagine Terry Crews.
Doesn't talk to his family.
How does his daughter feel? Does he talk to her?
Yeah,
This is just.
I can't feel good.
he was just on Marin.
Oh, was it? That's what
And
he was
this
talking
explains
about.
a lot because I didn't know. This
Oh,
was
that's what he.
going
Oh,
on.
that may help connect some of the dots because blacks don't listen to Marin, so that may actually help connect the dots here. So what did he say on Marin about his mother?
He doesn't talk to his family after his mom died. His dad's an alcoholic. By the way, Marin gave a disclaimer. He was like, whatever's going on with America's Got Talent, I have no clue. This was recorded way before any of this stuff. So just so you know, we don't talk about that if you're looking for that.
Okay.
No, his dad's said his dad's an alcoholic and was super abusive, and his mom stayed with him. His mom died 4 or 5 years ago, and he said his whole family, including one sister that's like a judge, he doesn't talk to because he got tired of them. He said one of his brothers couldn't afford to go to his mom's funeral. Everybody expects him to pay for everything and uses him and stuff. Like his dad, he has an assistant that calls his dad every couple months to make sure he's alive and okay. And he'll if his dad needs a new roof, he'll pay for a new roof. He won't give his dad any money because he's like got a problem. And then all of his siblings.
So
he
it's not
said-
just giving. It's like, hey, you need this. I will pay for that.
Yeah, he said he doesn't talk. He hasn't
But I
talked to
will
any of
take-
his siblings since his mom died because at the funeral he said was like his last straw because everybody just was like, you got this, and he said they were just about that. They were like that about everything, is what he said, and he said he was just tired of it.
Well, that may give us a little bit more insight why he feels that particular way. Then
Well, why do you do that to your daughter, though?
I don't.
Oh,
know.
I didn't know it was.
Well,
No,
he just said the
talks
daughter
to his
tweet.
daughter.
Yeah, in the tweet I was talking
Oh,
about.
sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, but that's interesting, Chris, because now that adds a little bit more background as to kind of adds depth to that tweet. Because again, like it's peculiar.
He's from Flint, Michigan.
Yeah.
Played professional football, 7 years in the league. He's like a painter. He's like a true artist. Pretty interesting guy.
Well, we'll be the judge of that. Just because you paint doesn't mean you're any good.
But he like
Robert De Niro
That's
painted
it.
houses.
Oh.
See what
He
happened.
said
with him.
he used to he painted a painting for Natron Means once for like $5 grand.
That's hilarious.
He said he would
Natron
get cut.
Means
Means. What a
name.
random.
He said he would
what
get
a
cut.
random of randomness that is.
This is on a different interview I heard him on, but he said when he would get cut, first thing he would do is go up to like the starting running back or a tackle or something and be like, "Hey, have you ever had anybody paint you?" And he showed him his work, and they're like, "Yeah, how much you want?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, $2,000 to $5,000." And he's like, "Then I knew I could survive until I'd get picked up by another team to pay my bills and stuff."
Nice.
Paint me like one of your football players.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
isn't that wild? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, he said he didn't even enjoy football. He was like, it's just a way out of Flint.
No, it really
Yeah.
does. This situation does kind of go back to the Harvey Dent quote from Dark Knight. You either die a hero, or you live long enough to
So
see yourself
true.
become a villain. And this is kind of a situation. A year ago, Terry Crews, you had all these people out in full force supporting him, supporting his story, especially being a black male in Hollywood, talking to, hey, this doesn't just pertain to women. This pertains to a lot of men as well who ultimately do these things as a power move. And so people were sympathetic to his situation, his narrative, his history. And so for him not to show that same sympathy towards these people who are going through similar situations
Yeah.
is very frustrating. And I can absolutely understand where a lot of these people are coming from, especially black women, because the black women often are at the forefront of taking these shots and defending men, black men especially. And for Terry Crews to then pull this 180, it's kind of it's a stab in the back. It really is a stab in the back. And no one ever said, well, Terry Crews is not my father, so I don't give a fuck. Terry Crews is not my husband. I don't give a fuck. He's not my son. I don't give a fuck. These are people who are like, you know what? It's even more important because he could be my son. He could be my husband. And just because he's not doesn't mean I can't sympathize with what he's going through. And now that other women are going through, especially a black woman that put her career, her neck out there for him, and for him to then play the, I just love my wife card. I don't know what y'all talking about, is kind of a stab in the back.
I mean, this just reinforces my thought that one of my goals in life is to not get dragged on Black Twitter.
Don't get dragged on Black Twitter. Don't do it.
They tried to
gotta
get
wake
me-
up every day and
Don't
be
do
like,
it.
how do I not get dragged on Black Twitter?
Don't get dragged on
Because then
Black
you know
Twitter,
what
Chris.
you're gonna do? You're going to make these GIFs. You're going to make these memes.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't even know what they're about. I
That's
won't
right.
understand them. Half of them, at least, probably. And so I won't even know what's being said about me then.
One of my prouder moments. I fought back.
Chris had a brief encounter with Black Twitter
I
What
said,
did
"Get
you
back."
do?
during the interview.
Remember the interview, the movie?
The big hysteria about the interview with James Franco. And
Yeah, well,
and them
North
killing-
Korea was gonna attack.
The argument
everything.
was people were like, should we really be celebrating a movie where a world leader is being assassinated in a comedy film? And so that delved into a bunch of very gray area.
You don't remember this?
You don't remember the situation with
I
the interview?
remember the movie.
And it got
Oh,
basically
people were siding with like, yeah, you shouldn't do that. North Korea is right to hack.
No, it was-
Because the Sony hack
I
or
think we
whatever.
heard what I said yesterday, so I
Yeah.
think you know where I fall on this.
I think we do. I think we know where we fall on that.
I like
but,
Team America. I mean, was it what we?
but either way,
Oh,
Chris, Chris got into an interaction with a young lady.
I think I'm with
who
Chris
commented
here.
to me. Who was
Yeah.
who I commented on. I forgot how she even got involved.
You
in
could
it.
look up
I feel
the
like it was just an
interaction. It
interaction
wasn't
between
that
Chris
So it
and
might
I.
not have been.
It wasn't
what
that
your
bad. but-
exact. It might not have been even what you were thinking. It might have been who you were interacting with. Is what got this to be an issue, or
Oh, well, she was like, oh, if you don't know. I remember saying that. It was just funny. I stood up for it, and then Travis, to his credit, many times over admitted his horrific guilt
I
and how
acknowledge.
he was wrong
I was
and
wrong.
unintelligent, asshole, jerk, me. He never said any of that.
No, I was wrong. I was
wrong about what?
about
what did you say?
what the interview ultimately ended up being. Because, like I said, I thought it was just
He
based on
sided
the way
with a foreign power.
the way it was described. It felt like violent porn where you're just being malicious to be malicious, and it's not funny. It's just doing it because you can. But once you actually see the end product, it wasn't that at all. So I think that's. But no, it was the way it was
I'd
described,
clear
especially
your
according to
browsing
Lee.
history today if
Yeah,
I were
please,
you.
I would probably need to do that as well. But it was
I don't know
also
why you went there.
I-
but-
it was also my way of saying, North Korea, please leave my emails alone. That was also a roundabout way of saying, please don't hack me. Hey, I didn't have shit to do with any of this.
Was this before? After? Wasn't it them that hacked the Sony?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this is what it was.
This is what it was. It's part of the Sony hack.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
part of
and
the
they were
Sony
like,
hack.
"Oh yeah, and there will be consequences if you allow this movie to air." And it was like, I was like, "Wait, you guys are seriously gonna like be afraid of North Korea for a comedy that we should
Okay.
like?"
They,
that-
they
Yeah,
did. They did hack
if you're
some pretty
asking me to-
sophisticated
If you're
systems.
asking me to put it, I got my list of 5, right?
Right.
Kim Jong Un's on the list too.
Okay. Now, see, now I'm like, hey, Midcoast Media firmly supports it.
Ah.
Hey, actually,
Yesterday he's doing disclaimers.
Oh, I'll disclaim all day, you moron.
No, it's probably
You idiot.
Probably, I mean, if Donald Trump were to
No,
die,
don't finish that sentence.
there's.
No.
I'm saying were.
You're
I'm not.
literally going to get visited by an FBI agent.
I'm not wishing this upon the man.
I don't
I'm
care.
Telling you,
You're using words in the
I
same
probably
sentence.
wouldn't celebrate it. I'd smirk.
Again, Midcoast Media,
Cheer
Chris Denver,
happily.
Travis Farrell, anybody
There's no tragedy in his death, only
Chris
tragedy
Gardner
in his existence.
is
That's
an
all?
individual, a crazy, maddened individual.
Let's get that evaluated first.
Speak
Tom?
to anything. Hey, good time to tell you about St. Louis Counseling Services. You can check out stlouiscounseling.org. Online, check out the website. The podcast is there, Mental Health Matters. And while you're at it, hey, guess what? They have resources. You can read all about their services online, stlouiscounseling.org for more information.
Nothing. Got nothing.
Nothing.
You guys pumped for Super Bowl?
No.
Not even,
that's
not
after
even
this
the
week.
eating?
That's after this week. This is
That's what you're really about.
the eating. Yeah, that's what he really wants.
That's all I care about.
He just
I
wants to
know.
know what y'all got. What y'all
Here's-
got going on at y'all party.
Here's how you
That's
know.
what he really wants to know.
Any holiday, anything like
What are you
this,
eating?
Chris,
Don't blame
if
you.
we were to put out a poll question, it's always revolving around the sides of
Yeah.
whatever.
What are you working with? You guys got shrimp at yours? Got cocktail shrimp at mine. What do you think?
That's what the question's always about.
Certainly is.
It's kind of like
You
I
know
said.
what? I don't mind having that cheese dip with Rotel in it every once in a while. And that's that time of
I
year.
feel about Rotel. I love Rotel. Like, yeah, I think so, I don't know. I haven't,
I
haven't
got
made
some
official
Rotel and
plans.
put it in some Velveeta shells and cheese a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Oh, really?
Why do
Interesting.
you always sound half hard when you talk about your food? I don't know why I put myself through
You
this.
can hear that? I didn't know.
Are you mic'd up?
I
down
didn't
there?
know that. It's an experiment we were working with.
We have a tumescence meter on the
But
screen.
I don't even think you're excited for a Super Bowl, even with food.
I mean, the food part's fun and everything, but then you got to get up and have a half a hangover and you're full and all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm not invested in it.
I think I would enjoy the Super Bowl more. I know there's a petition this kid started to get the Super Bowl moved to Saturday, so people can be off on Sunday, the day after the Super Bowl.
Bad move.
I think that's what I would
Make
think.
Monday
I
off.
think a lot
Or
of
move President's Day is what.
Well, I
people
think
say.
I know a lot of people say. I know the petition's got a ton of signatures. I doubt the NFL does anything. But
No. So you're just moving President's Day? Is that what they're saying? They're not adding another holiday?
Oh no, but if people were suggesting you could just move President's Day
Okay.
to that Monday.
Okay. I was just going to say, like, if we're having basically
Days off
days off
because
for the
of
day after
sports.
the Super Bowl,
But is it
and we don't have an election day as a national holiday,
Good point.
I would have an issue with that.
Yeah, I would understand that. I would absolutely understand.
And
that
I'm only
experience.
talking like the national election, like every 4 or maybe every 2 years.
Yo, I agree.
Like if we're doing that,
Oh,
then
I'm
like,
with you.
We'll put that one.
look at this-
That
let's
goes
look
on
at-
the back burner. Let's pull this other one up first
Right,
before we
right.
go there.
No, I completely agree with you. That's why I thought the idea of having it on a Saturday made a lot more
You
sense
know,
than anything
Sweden
else.
had 87% voter turnout in their last election.
How
they
many
did-
people are in Sweden?
Not sure.
87%. I don't care what the
Smaller than
population
Missouri,
is.
I bet.
I would. That's a good question.
I
Let's
can't
find out how many people live in Sweden.
argue that without knowing the facts.
And what's their ethnicity makeup too?
Okay.
They're Swedish.
What I'm saying is probably they're all very much the same.
It
Like
looks
easier
like
to get people to do things.
10 million people, over 10 million people live in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the equivalent of that's like a New York. Yeah, just a New York population. Just if you want to really kind of.
The city of New York.
Yeah, city of New York. So yeah, city of New York is about 8.6.
Yeah. That's
This is 10.
90% white.
outrageous.
Swedes. Hold on, I doubt if their minority population is fairly large. I think they have a fairly high Asian population, but I would not imagine that they're.
So there's not as much oppression with the vote.
Yeah, it's probably you have less to argue about.
Less people to less people
people
to
to trick.
disenfranchise. Yeah,
less
essentially.
people to talk into. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that makes.
But I think but
That's
no.
an outrageously high number, though. When you think.
Yeah, you know, what did you
I
say?
wonder what their-
87%.
I wonder too if their
Jesus.
'Cause then, like,
if
look-
their national education level is high.
Yeah. All of it. All of it's pretty good. It's not
All
bad.
that stuff.
It's not bad.
All that stuff is good. It's real good.
Jesus.
No, I don't think they do much.
Nearly
there.
9 million of their citizens voted out of the.
What's
out
the
of the 10
population
million.
of Missouri?
I thought population of Missouri was close to 4.
Oh
But no,
no,
it was lower than that.
no more than that.
Really?
With
Okay,
Kansas
I'm
City's-
guessing here. I'm sorry.
6.126.
Yeah,
Oh wow. Wow, it's more than I thought.
2 big cities, 1 small city.
So that would so that'd be almost like that would be 4.5 million or so of our citizens voting in an election, and I don't recall the last time we had that many people ever vote that much during an election in the state of Missouri. But I'm with Gardner on that. Yeah, I don't honestly. I know why, because you kind of alluded to it with Sweden, and Chris kind of alluded to it with his answer. You want to do whatever you can to depress the vote. You really don't want to encourage the public to vote. That's what politicians ultimately. That's their goal. They want to do whatever they can to discourage people from actually voting. And so, a national holiday, while it would make a ton of sense, I have not heard even the most progressive of progressives pushing for something like that. And maybe I don't know how much of a priority it is right now. And I mean, there are a ton of things that are currently a priority in the world. But yeah, that is one of those things that's. I'm with Gardner. If we're going to give days off for the day after the Super Bowl, we better get a day off to vote. And with Gardner's point, he's right. Like, even if you just do it for national elections, like, you can do it for the presidential election. Now, if you want to do something different for a local election, state election, so be it. But you're telling me every 4 years we can't have one holiday in November? Like, that
Right.
seems pretty simple to me, to just say, hey, on Tuesday, no one goes to work, or you're off and you can go vote whenever.
Well, and they vote on a Tuesday in Sweden. Or no, they vote on a Sunday.
Oh, yeah, why not move it to a Sunday?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Ain't nobody doing shit on Sunday. We at Forest Park.
Do it on Sunday. Take the Monday off.
And take the Monday off.
Have a big party. Everyone helping each other.
That'd be nice.
course, that not everyone would want that.
I wonder why.
I was trying to see just in New York alone, like the raw number of people that voted,
Yeah, what was the percentage?
and I don't know
there?
that it matches Sweden actually.
I doubt if it does.
No
Oh.
way.
I mean, what was the? I
They
think,
have 57%.
and that's in this country considered pretty
That's
high.
pretty good.
Yeah, in this country, that's high.
Well, it
But
was.
that's still depressing.
they
Out of
w-
8
They ranked 41st in the country in voter turnout
Oh,
in the 2016
really?
general election.
Shit, did that many people stay home in New York for the election? I guess they figured they already had the state. They weren't going to vote for Trump, and it wasn't going to make the ultimate difference at the end of the day. It's just like Missouri. Like, yeah, I went out and voted, but it's a red state,
So
so
you
my
see-
vote didn't mean shit.
Would you start to see there's issues with
Right.
a certain college?
Yeah, absolutely. God, that's really, wow, 41st?
Yeah.
Shit, that's a lot of people who stayed home. That's a lot of people who stayed fucking home
Way
at the
more people-
2016 election. Damn.
And I don't care what level you're on or who you're voting. Like, way more people complain and bitch than actually go out and vote. So that's a problem.
Yeah, I think it's even. I
Well-
think it's pretty. Yeah, but I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I think
I-
people, it's way easier to bitch about.
Oh,
stuff
definitely.
and
I don't
say,
get
"Do
on
this, do
people
that."
for not voting and complaining anymore
Hmm.
because I also know that disenfranchisement is such an issue
Sure.
that it could be a person that feels that way. And I think that because I will say I would have been a person that would do that. But I think my mind is I don't know if it's changed. I just have backed off that approach.
agree.
I guess now is what I would say.
Mhm.
It's just because I realize that there's a lot of stuff about the way certain people are treated that, you know, you start to become aware of and you can understand why,
You don't want to play the game.
yeah, you can understand why they would be upset and then not want to participate in the process at the same time.
But
I
then you
think you're-
ultimately
I think you're
it's
both right.
lose though too. That's
Well,
what sucks.
that's what ultimately some people want is
Right.
the thing. And I feel bad for someone in that situation.
stepfather's
So
there.
it's like I don't
A lot of black people are there. A lot of black
Yeah.
people I know. A lot of older relatives of mine are there, and I think you're both right. Honestly, I think it is frustrating if you're an older African American to just see how a lot of these states and a lot of these court rulings are allowing so many people to be disenfranchised. We see it in Georgia. We saw it in North Carolina.
well, it's even. I mean, the Supreme Court with the Citizens United.
with the
thing, which
Citizens
is just a
United allowing
complete fucking
corporations.
joke.
Yeah, and then
I mean, absolute embarrassment.
And then
by
when you
that
see
court.
and you see so much money, and especially dark money, flood into politics, if you are a minority in this country, like your voice can't compete with that. Even if you do have the power of voting, you can't compete with dark money coming into your election where a candidate you've never heard of has more funding than God to run a campaign. Like that's hard to contend against. And so, yeah, I think you're both right in that regard. I think you want people to vote so so their complaints can obviously
and
be
you
heard
wanna-
and they can continue to voice their opinion. But to Gardner's point, there are so many people over the years, over the decades that have been disenfranchised. I saw in Florida where they're rolling people off the rolls.
Well, and that's like, and Chris isn't saying he doesn't want anybody, but he would
Right.
like it.
He would like if more
like
people,
for-
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and he's right. That people do need to be more engaged in the political process. However,
But when you get beaten down to a certain
Yeah.
point, you're still upset, and yet you don't want to participate because you've been beaten down by a process you think that doesn't want to involve you, and that's an issue.
I hope it gets. I don't know.
That's why it's like I don't like election security is obviously a big deal.
Which is why
but
people-
but we should also be making it easier to apply to vote
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
or do mail. Like I use
Right.
paper ballot all the time. I don't do any
If
touchscreen.
you can, if you can bank online, there could be a voting system done online.
I would be leery of it. I think that's the reason why a lot of people are.
I would be leery of it just because of what I see
Right.
less than proactive approach by
Right.
certain groups and
Right.
not attacking it
Right.
and actually maybe calling for it.
Right.
So that's why I would be leery. Is the technology there?
Absolutely.
Oh, of course it is.
Absolutely.
It
But is the
like-
security
it
there?
Could be an app.
Right.
It could be on your phone.
Easily.
So that's why I do paper ballot. I have friends that do absentee quite often. They'll even, I'm sure, do absentee. I think absentee for primaries is in March or something like
Right.
that. But it's just, I, I just don't treat it the same way as I used to, I guess.
And you
Makes
have
sense.
to, and you have to be leery in this to Gardner's point. Um, we have had these endless amounts of reports, not only from our intelligence services, but from even local state attorney generals. And we just got a report this past summer about how Russian operatives found a way into local elections here in the state. So I think that's the thing that's kind of been the scariest thing. I know it's been impeachment all the time, and it should be. No, the argument has been, well, you should leave it up to the voters in November. I think that's the part that has other people, like myself, even as scared, is because, well, what makes you think our upcoming elections are going to be protected and they're going to be reliable? They're going to be trusted one way or the other. So the idea that we simply can just wait to November, to cast our vote when we don't even know our vote will ultimately count,
That's not a good feeling.
that's not a good feeling. And I think that's the thing that kind of, I mean, there's a number of things to worry about in 2020. But that's the one where I feel as if, what is the fucking point? If we're not securing our ballot boxes, then why the hell does it matter if I get up before I have to go to work to cast a vote if it's not going to count anyway?
This hopeless message brought to you
Fair.
by us here at We Are Live. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back on the other side.
Oh, hold on. I wasn't ready.
Oh, God. Oh, we're caught naked.
And now.
Welcome back to the show. Chris Emmond, Travis Terrell. We are live, and we're live at Midcoast Studio. Big thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Tech Electronics for making the studio possible. We've got an announcement to make. We're going to make a few changes, I guess, with the show. Not, I guess, big changes, but all in very positive nature. We Are Live's going to continue on. I'm going to stick around and do some one-on-one conversations, talk to people locally, and more news on that. But more importantly, Gardner and Travis will be exiting the show. Still available to MC bat mitzvahs, divorce parties for Travis. Gardner's made a strict rule against those. But still see Gardner around the office some. He'll be doing some recording and all that good stuff. Travis as well. We've got a big announcement for a big comedy show coming up in March. He'll be a part of. He's emceeing with us and all that good stuff. But We Are Live is going to shift gears, and it's Travis's want to go work for the Trump campaign that has spurred that change.
Look, I don't.
So
Was there a large amount of money deposited into my checking account over the last couple of weeks from Russian assets?
from a D Trump.
Who has a black person as his avatar on Twitter? Maybe. Will I be out here as the black community liaison for Trump for America? If you see me driving around in a 2019 Audi, yes. Yes, I have done that as my new career path. So it's just something that felt like the right transition. The goal is, don't tell them, guys, I'm there to blow that shit up.
Gotcha.
Oh, you're.
But blacks, yes, vote for Trump.
That
Wink.
makes sense. No, so yeah, switching things up. We'll have more content announcements, stuff like that. Just with the scheduling of everything, and man, it's tough to run a 5-day-a-week, crazy put together show, and costs money and everything you want to get into. But it's been an awesome time together. I'd say most of Gardner's food porn things haven't bothered me that much, but. February 15th is our 14th will be our last.
14th. We'll break your hearts on Valentine's.
That's right.
Day.
That'll be our last show as a team like this. So man, it's crazy to think that, but yeah, been podcasting and radioing for 4 to 5 years, and I don't know. You two are going to keep rocking it, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I guess I need to figure that out. Travis, you too.
Man, look.
Is there a plan?
Look, I just know probably in the next 60 minutes I'll probably be high. So that will start there. And
That has zero to do with the show switching
gears.
gears.
Well, I just figured that probably is going to be part of my day at some point.
Well, yeah, that's what we assume, though, too.
And that's fair to assume just those things. No, look, as I continue to grow as a screenwriter.
This is how you know.
International screenwriter.
Thank you. It's important that I share my story with people outside these four walls. It's important for me to go into communities that may have not heard this show so they can understand these stories that need to be shared. And that's what I plan on doing. How and in what capacity, I'm not so sure myself, but I plan on probably just walking down people's streets and yelling things like, that's racist as hell. So if you see me out, probably in the unemployment line, and you hear that, just know that Travis Terrell is doing all right. He's doing okay. So if you're at a Blues game and you hear me yelling that, I'm all good. Things will be fine.
That's what.
And if people are wondering, by the way, I've got a Facebook issue. I'm blocked out for like another hour or something. I had
What
to
the
switch
hell is
phones.
going on with you?
My
Your
phone
technology.
my phone got crushed, and I have two-factor authentication set up. So it goes to my phone. It's either that or like send an ID. So either way, I haven't been able to get into an email. I can't check my phone. So I got my phone switched over. There was a whole unlocking thing.
You got the Facebook
was
on
a
the
mess.
laptop?
Yeah, I should have got a track phone. That's what you should have got.
No, I can't sign into Facebook until I get this new phone set up because it's set up where it sends a code to your phone if you can't get in.
Well, you can have it sent to your email, can't you? Can't you have your settings suggested to send it to an email?
No.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's
I wouldn't doubt that it's terrible. I didn't know that's how it
so
worked.
yeah.
That
So
sucks
if
ass.
people are wondering, oh, why isn't whatever? So yeah, if you want to jump on the YouTube channel, I'm available there. So
No, but
if
seriously.
anybody has questions or wants to know whatever, let us know.
All right, well, I'm not answering everything if you have a question, so I'm just going to let you know that off the bat. I ain't telling you everything, but
We wanted to
Have
say it
you
was
ever?
creative
Not have it.
differences.
Yeah, creative differences is always my favorite. Where it's like, what?
Let's go with that.
You want to go creative differences?
Creative differences.
Like-
Fair with that.
yeah,
Um,
but that's an abrupt leave. Should we say it just today and then not remind anyone until the 14th?
Or
and
you
have
can
a
be
big
very
blowout?
corporate-y about it and be just like,
We
you
wish 'em the
know,
best, goodbye.
the media company wanted to go in a different direction in regards to the type of content they wanted to produce for this channel. And we, Travis, specifically disagree creatively. He just could not stand the racism and sexism that took place inside the company and
Okay.
decided to head for the hills.
That'll do it.
and
There is a Me Too that is going to drop.
And then I had a creative difference with you because I didn't think I was racist enough.
We did have a Gardner was like, we only have 3 race-related segments. Let's go for 6, Travis.
Come on, man. You're the one who brings these ideas to
You
me.
bring
You
it to
guys
the table.
bring
What would
these
you want me
me.
to do? But no, we've been doing this for 4 years now, which is, I mean, I don't. As far as this industry is concerned, might as well be 40. But you
Oh
know,
my gosh.
it's been a lot of fun as far as the type of content we've been able to produce. Not only
been
for
original.
this, it's been very original. It's something we wanted to do that was different on the radio side. On the radio side, especially because we are in a market where in order for you to essentially thrive, you really do have to spend a good majority of your content either discussing the St. Louis Cardinals or the St. Louis Blues, and at one moment, even the St. Louis Rams. And so if your content strayed away from those 3 main topics, people really kind of feel like you're shaking the table. But honestly, it was just something we wanted to do that we hadn't heard ourselves. We didn't hear a lot of things on the radio that talked outside of sports or talked about the entertainment industry or comedy scene here in St. Louis or the art scene here in St. Louis. And we kind of wanted to expose people we knew to that part of St. Louis and to other parts of the world besides the Cardinals and Blues. And we got the opportunity to
Oh,
do
man.
that, both in the evening, both in drive time and in morning radio. So we ran the gambit. You know, we've done the afternoon drive, we've done the morning shows, and now we've done this. And I couldn't be happier with the type of content we've been able to produce. It hasn't been perfect, but it sure as hell has been fun. And the people we've met along the way have been just absolutely sensational. I would love to sit up here and say that the people we've worked with are assholes and jerks and they didn't know what the hell they were doing or talking
sure some of
about.
them are.
And there were a couple along the way, but none to the point that were notable enough to completely deter us from doing what we're currently doing.
Cusimano?
It probably was Cusimano. No, Cusimano was actually
No,
one
I
of the
got to
bi-
be nice to him. I texted him.
Yeah, I'm
asked
about to
him
say, yeah, if
to
you're going
use
to
him
be,
as a
if you're going to
reference.
use him as a reference, you got to be nice to a lot of people for the next few days at least until somebody gives you that phone call. But no, even I'm glad you brought up Cusimano. People like Cusimano, people like McKernan, like a lot of people in this industry actually were very polite to us and very courteous towards us in regards to getting this thing off the ground. It would have been very easy for a lot of folks just to blow us off, but they didn't. John Seymour is one of the very few people that comes to mind immediately off the top of my head who was a guy that had produced in major markets. And he took the time to tell these little 32-year-old grunts at the time to how to put together a show, how to edit, how to upload something. And he didn't have to do that because he wasn't getting paid to do that. And so we've met a ton of generous people along this journey, and that's the thing I appreciate more than anything. And more than anything else, 4 years, everything happens for a season.
No,
You know,
and I'd
everything's
like
not
to-
meant to be here forever, and that's
I'd
fine.
like to thank both of you for bringing me in.
Oh, hey, of course.
I've had a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It got me out of the mundane nature of complete sports talk radio, which even when talking to people, because we've known Travis and I for about a week about this,
Right.
and when I've behind the scenes talked to people about what I'm going to do going forward, even like my mother, she's like, I go, I'm not doing sports radio anymore. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
Like, it does not interest me.
No.
I have no feelings for it. I just can't, unless you let me do what I want to do.
Right.
I have no. It wouldn't be fulfilling.
It
Unless you're letting me talk to Colby Rasmus about hair,
Sure.
Ron Washington about smoking cigarettes. Unless you're letting me do that, sorry.
And I will say this: I am making myself available for anybody's radio show. So if
Are you going to
if-
be the sports guy finally on the Frank Opinion
It
show?
could be the moment I've been waiting for. Finally, the sports guy for the Frank Opinion show. But I know Cusimano likes to travel from time to time, so I may shoot him an email. From time, I know Doug Vaughn sometimes takes some time off. I may shoot him an email. I don't know. I'm kind of a free agent now. I'm kind of.
You don't just go directly to Big Bird
There's many.
as the head writer.
Here's the beauty of my talent, because as you two know how incredibly talented that I am, I can do almost anything. I really could. I could be a media mogul. I could be the biggest drug kingpin in St. Louis. I could be a head librarian.
Could you be on
I could be a
time?
door guy.
Could you be on time?
I could be down. That's a whole now. That's you talking about impossible.
He said almost anything.
Oh, well,
That's fair.
but-
Are you going to pursue the doorman life?
No, that's a Gardner's move, and Gardner. I think he may get some leads here soon.
I was walking home from the local watering hole last night,
Ah, yes.
going by a condo, and I was just gonna keep walking because I had a salad in my bag, I had pizza on the way, and I was like, let me walk in here a second, and I just walked in and asked. The thing is, I knew the doorman that was working
That
at this
helps.
particular building, and I'm like, what's the property management company here again? And I was explaining to him what I was looking for, and he was like, yeah. So we'll see.
Nothing
I'm
would bring
keeping
me
an
more.
eye.
Look, nothing would bring me more joy than you to become an official doorman, where you're getting paid to literally greet people into their residence. I would visit the shit out of you almost every other day.
Well, that's
'cause
what
that
he
is
needs.
a dream.
So he
absolutely
could lose
needs
his
that.
doorman job.
Yeah.
Everything
Doctor-
was fine, and then that guy kept coming up and just calling all our residents racist.
I know you
You
last.
could, actually, we could set it up to where like you do something like that, and then I react and take care of the situation, and it gets
yes.
me looking good with people.
Yeah, I think that's
And I
the
would
way
do
to
the
it.
same for you in a situation.
Oh,
we
that's so
could help
kind of
each other
you.
out.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I
We sacrifice a little bit, our whatever reputation in that area,
right.
but you don't really know people there, and I wouldn't know people necessarily where you would be, so it really doesn't matter, right?
that's
We
true.
help each other out
That's a very good point.
in
I
our
was
respective areas.
I was just I was asking when we talked about when we talked about this news last week. I reached out to some people who work at Barnes, and I said, "Hey, do you guys need a podcaster / children's screenwriter?"
Oh, good.
And surprisingly, no one at Barnes has yet to get back to me. I
Really?
don't know what that's about, but I feel like there has to be room on that campus somewhere for ex podcaster / children's screenwriter, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
maybe. I
I'm
don't know.
certain.
I don't know if that's what they really do, though,
No?
Travis. You could maybe answer some calls and tell people about
That
that.
would be nice.
We should have our listeners help us out with any resume
Yes.
suggestions or
Jobs
We'll
we
work,
sh-
we'll work on
jobs that you might want to point us in the direction of.
Legal or illegal, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to live, baby. What Drake say?
Yeah.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
I'm looking for a doorman job. I've also considered getting a little more entrepreneurial.
Oh boy, you
Um,
gonna start growing too? I mean, what?
no. Actually, it's not a bad idea to start looking to see what kind of jobs they need at those facilities.
Look,
actually.
when we talked about the weed sommelier last week, our brother immediately started going on Google, going, "Is that a thing?
What was it?
Or will it be a thing? Is there a class I can take to be that thing?"
Was it Black Sheep called it a smoke sommelier?
Smoke sommelier?
Yeah, something along the. Yeah, I mean, like that could be needed here soon.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea to start looking.
Is
there.
it?
I might try in terms of entrepreneurship. I don't know if around town that there's. It could be my company. I mean, if somebody's looking for e-scooter tours of the River de Pear, I might be the one who's able to provide that to you.
Well, you know how Ian Frobe has his list of restaurants?
Uh-huh.
I think, honestly, that the Post or some major publication is going to have a person that puts out a yearly list of the top weed places
I
in the
think
metro area.
I know there's a guy on Twitter who I know has done stuff for St. Louis Public Radio and has it listed on the east side as their cannabis like correspondent or whatever. So, I mean, that's a job now.
That is true.
I mean, it's big business.
What we're saying, the sky is the limit for Gardner and I. We could be presidential
Oh, I wouldn't say
candidates by the
that.
end of the year. We could be in jail by the end of the year.
That could
We
be.
could be on the
That's
run
more
from the
likely.
law. We could actually be having
Yes.
kids. There's a
Oh,
lot
no.
of things that can go sideways, up, down in the next few months, and I just
It
hope
could be good or bad,
they could be very bad.
and there's probably not a middle ground for us.
No,
guys
it
like you
usually
and me.
isn't.
No,
it usually isn't.
it's either going to be really, really good or really, really bad.
Generally, how my life has gone. It's been, oh shoot, that's awesome. To oh, that is That is the worst. I'm not getting out of bed
Let's
today.
text Gardner, see if he's fallen off the wagon.
That's a fair question.
That's going to be a thing.
That should
My
be.
mother's going to be placing that phone call at some point. When anything bad happens, it's a, yeah.
I started.
I
tw-
understand the question, and I appreciate you checking in on me because that's how it's supposed to work too. Number one, that's how you keep from
Right.
falling off is to have certain checkpoints in place and people to help you out to make sure you don't. So I don't get mad at the question, but it's usually the same. Now,
Nah, we'll be.
even with 3 bottles of scotch sitting on my what is it, bookshelf at home, I guess. It's good decoration.
You know it's going to be even more awkward when I'm just walking around in the middle of the afternoon on a Wednesday and I go, it's time for Dogs on Film!
Is that what you were you throwing to it then?
Would be an example of how weird it will be when I
Okay,
can't
'cause
actually
I
throw
wasn't-
to
I
something.
wasn't ready
I know,
for that.
I was kind of setting it up to say. But now, I still have time, certainly until February 15th.
Uh-huh.
To do this. It's time for Dogs on Film! Yeah! Yeah! On Film!
Oh God. Yeah, that will be weird.
Just walk into
by
walk
the
into
way,
Blue
you
City
just-
Deli.
You just
Dogs on Film!
you can't just walk around saying everything's racist as
No,
hell.
it is
either.
people are weird about that.
You got to know your audience.
And I can't just be going up to random white people telling them about white stories I found online about how it's an embarrassment to their race.
don't do
people
that.
feel weird about that, apparently.
Yeah, don't do that.
You see what y'all white people did today?
Uh-huh.
You lose credit scores.
And
What?
then they're gonna be like, okay, what the hell is this guy's problem?
is this
So you're gonna need to find some sort of outlet.
Transition's going to be weird.
You'll need an outlet. We'll need to find a way. Both of us will need outlets. I'm looking for a doorman job. Also,
Who am I going to turn to? What camera 3? Am I just going to have to go to security cams and
please
liquor
don't be
stores?
walking down the street and they go, Gardner, camera 3.
I'm just going to FaceTime Gardner in the middle of the afternoon.
You will be-
Gardner, this is my camera 3. I got to rant. Bro, I'm literally at the door right now. I
You're
can't
just
help
going to be looking at security cameras in convenience stores.
You know it doesn't have any audio.
And
so
just
it's
start
me.
yelling. You'll see where the camera's positioned and you'll start yelling at it. You'll be outside buildings looking at security cameras, yelling at them.
Here goes Blackfish again. He's coming to see our security camera.
Now, this does allow me and I'll try and keep everyone updated too. It'll allow me some creative time to focus on National Treasure
I
Mount
like
City.
that you put together the movie poster already. I freaking hate you.
My one-man show.
Who would have ever thought you two leaving the show would turn into the Gardner and Travis shows respectively?
Uh-huh.
Now, are you guys? Now, why don't you guys do a podcast?
This is kind of technically like a backdoor pilot. What we're doing right now is a backdoor. We are introducing a show within a show to set up for another show.
Do you think
Spin-off?
you guys will do a podcast, a spinoff, if you will?
I need to make sure I can pay the rent first.
Just
Yeah, I think
scream
that
at
would
each
be a
other
good
every
idea. That's a good
Saturday
idea.
for an hour?
No, that's fine.
Politipod?
I just need to pay the rent
Right,
first.
That's fine. I have no problem with that. I have no problem yelling at people on a mic. I just want to make sure
And
a
you
bill or
know
two is
what?
paid.
I don't mind a doorman job. I could use like a bit of a mental break, like a job where, or one that I can get outside. I actually looked at. There's a gardening job that was open on St. Louis City website.
This is what makes me so happy. You know, you're all, oh, I'm going to get out of. You've had a job that, albeit much different behind the scenes than people think, but everybody's like, oh, Pa, that's got to be so cool. You deal with this, you deal with that. You've had this job. You're showing interest in these things that require physical labor.
Yeah,
I either it's gonna be that, and I'm gonna see you in 6 months, and you'll be like, dude, CrossFit and gardening saved my life, or
it won't be CrossFit.
you're gonna be
Gardening could.
you're gonna be showing up at the NPR offices saying, for the love of God, just let me cut some audio because gardening's horrible.
Yeah, I
and
already
it
looked at
hurts."
them. They only have an investigative reporter opening. I don't think that's really I'm qualified for that unless they're looking for a certain type of investigative reporter.
did
I don't know if I fit the NPR mold for investigative
Well, have you brought
reporter.
You're
down,
like-
have you brought down a governor of a state?
Yeah, what have they ever done?
I don't think
You
kinda
could,
have.
how
As long as they don't ask me how I did it.
their main local show, radio show, is anchored by someone who's in their 40s and
Yeah.
has never done radio.
I don't know if I could be an investigator.
And I say that out of love.
I like
say that
investigating.
out,
I'd be like, I wouldn't mind investigating the tunnels of the River de Pere underneath
right.
Forest Park. Stuff.
yeah.
It's
It's
going
more.
to be.
Maybe you get 20-minute show once every Tuesday in a month on KDHX.
Yeah, but once again, that's just down the street too.
Okay.
Got to pay the rent first.
So
is the
you
thing.
see yourself joining the labor force. Travis, you're going to head up Universal Studios.
Man, I'm gonna go home and just sleep.
I want to go home.
Yeah,
Is that what I
I'm
just heard?
I'm just gonna do that. Yeah, I'm gonna do the Forrest Gump thing where I just turn to the audience and just go.
It's just time to go.
I'm done running. I think I'm gonna go home now. That's essentially it. It's been a 4-year marathon. It's been literally a cross-country trek, if you will, of mental and emotions over the last 4 years. So yeah, I think I'm literally in the middle of the Utah desert, and I'm going, yeah. I think I'm gonna go home now.
Yeah. I looked at the History Museum to see what they have because
You would be great for that.
I love the History Museum. I looked at the Art Museum. They had one with the description that says, to perform the routine cleaning and general care of the various components of and around the museum in order to maintain a clean and aesthetically pleasing facility for staff and guests. So that's the description, the summary of the job.
Right.
The job title is Environmental Aid.
Nice.
Which I like. I'm like,
I
well,
like
that's
that.
an interesting way
Well
of putting
done.
that. Okay. All right. I'm down for that.
I love how capitalism has found our sweet spot. It is awesome titles, awesome job titles. That's what gets it. Yeah, the pay's gonna be set. In fact, we're taking $2,000 a year away from your salary, but you will be lead environmental aid. Oh man, that's kind of a shit. You can't beat that. Shit, you can lead environmental aid, motherfucker. You know what that mean? Ah, shit, I ain't said nothing but a word. By the way, you have to carry your black phrases off to your next job as well. It's what's the point of going over all these if you
Can I
can't-
use them?
Oh, absolutely.
And will I get in trouble?
No, because you'll probably be a doorman, and
But-
what black people don't live in places that have doormen, so you won't have an issue with that.
Well, there's some. I've seen some. So yeah.
Herman Cain.
Actually, also, another idea: the census takers.
Census
So it's census
$25
time
an
now.
hour, baby.
$23.50 an hour in
Can't
St.
beat
Louis.
If you guys don't mind, I'm going to stick around here, still do media stuff.
Oh, whatever.
Okay. The world
Okay.
is your oyster.
The
That's
The
all
world
I
is our oyster.
That's all I was
If
thinking.
it's going to oyster, it's going to oyster.
All right. Do we want to play Dogs on Film?
Let's do it.
Okay. Dogs on Film
Or on film.
or On Film is a game we've been playing now for a little while now. You know what? I'd like to thank both of you as well for allowing me to introduce my friend Sean to the audience.
Thank you.
This
He's
is fun.
been a delight. What a great addition he's been. He's been the Dennis Rodman of this thing.
The people have even said to me as I've told them what was going on, like, well, what are we going to do with Sean? I might have to just figure out something for that. Might be the way out for everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just like, hey, let's just put Sean on a park bench and ask him to tell a story, and we turn this into a series.
Sounds better.
So that might be the route to go as well. But we have 6 movies, 3 sets of movies, and you guys have to guess when these are paired off, which one, going one-on-one, has a better score according to the venerable website, Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Tomatoes!
So you can max out at 3 possible points.
Okay.
If we have a tie after the first 6 movies are used, then we have a 7th movie where you have to guess closest to the actual score. And I have themes with each pairing. The tiebreaker one's kind of random. Now, throughout, I will let you know if I want to let one of you guys know you're right or wrong, or both of you right or wrong. If it's right,
Yeah, dog. Yeah, dog.
if it's wrong, those are the sounds that you will hear. Now, mention my friend Sean. Reason it's been a joy to bring him to you is because we've been able to do it through Dogs on Film, where he reads a brief movie description of each of these movies to kind of help you guys out if you haven't seen the movie before, just to give you some background on it and such. And also, he gives you some background on his life through our chit chats that we have as we record this every week.
It's exciting.
All right. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Here is your first one. I won't tell you the themes. I won't tell you. We can say what the themes are. You can guess what they are after, okay? Here's your first movie.
This house is a pretty.
How you feeling?
How's that sound? Pretty good.
Is your foot?
Swollen.
Is your neuropathy?
It's the same. Can't feel it's broken, but it's broken.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, doesn't hurt. We're ready for today? First up, Navy SEALs. 1990. Thriller action. 1 hour, 53 minutes. Navy Special Operations Forces go to the Middle East to free a helicopter crew taken captive by terrorist Ben Shahid Nicholas Cotty. Wait a minute. After learning that Shahid has killed a hostage and acquired missiles on the black market, Lieutenant James Curran, Michael Bean, and Lieutenant Dale Hawkins, Charlie Sheen, consult with reporter Joanne Wally Kilmer, who is an expert on Shahid and his motives. As Shahid embarks on his plan to violently derail the regional treaty talks, the Special Operation Forces make their move.
Think you could have been a Navy SEAL?
No, maybe. I was a good swimmer. I swim with the sharks at night when I go to Miami.
Oh, do you?
They say don't go in the water at night. That's when the sharks are out.
You wear a Speedo?
Speedo, white.
Here's your first one. Navy SEALs. Okay. Here's your second one.
Followed by Popstar, Never Stop, Never Stopping, 2016. Drama music, 1 hour, 27 minutes. Childhood friends Connor, Andy Samberg, Owen, Jorma Taccone, and Lawrence Akiva Schaefer found fame and fortune after forming a hip-hop group, the Style Boys. Owen and Lawrence faded into the background when frontman Connor left the band to launch a successful solo career. Now the egotistical singer decides to film a documentary about his life while he's still on top. When his second album flops, the camera's there to capture his world come crashing down.
You would have been a fascinating boy band member.
Yeah, I would have been. Yeah, I'd be the cute one. You know I got the moves. Can't do it anymore, though. Can't feel your feet, can't dance. Or the one with, little Justin Timberlake. Who are they?
Timber who?
Timberlane or Timberlake.
There you go.
Mm.
All right. Pop star, Never Stop, Never Stopping
Got
versus Navy SEALs. Do you know the theme at all? This is kind of a tough one.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Navy SEAls,
Right.
and in Pop Star, there's a cameo by
Seal.
Seal.
Oh,
I gotta
that's
check-
hilarious.
I gotta check that movie out. By the way.
You haven't ever seen it?
I've never seen it.
Oh,
I've heard,
that was-
I've heard like not. I got kind of mixed reviews, but like people who like it really, really like it. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I'm gonna have to really check it out. I'm gonna go Navy SEAls.
Okay. Navy SEAls for Travis.
Going pop star.
Pop Star for Chris, and Chris is
Yeah, dog. Yeah, dog.
correct on that one.
What's Pop Star's Rotten Tomato score?
Well, let's give you Navy SEALs
Okay.
first. That's 19. Pop Star 79. 79.
But here's the thing, and I'm not
That
saying
pop
it's
star
not.
was like a huge hit with Hollywood people too, like with smart, like comics.
But no,
and
but not
stuff.
to be funny, and I know you don't just simply measure a movie's how their quality just off box office, but how did it do in the box office? I feel like no one saw it in theaters for it to be 79%. Put it that way. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it has the cast and the premise where people would have still shown up if they liked it as much as 79%. Do you have the box office numbers at all down there? No.
No, I mean,
Okay, I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
It
about
was
that
like
type
a
of stuff.
small movie that was
I heard- I mean,
super
Andy-
popular. I don't know, weird.
Pop Star. Never Stop Stopping. Let's see. I want to see the box office for that.
Okay.
No, go ahead. Next one. I'm just,
Okay,
I'm
no.
just, yeah, that's a really freaking high score
It is
for
a
a
high
movie
score.
that I only know 5 people saw.
So after one pairing, the first set, Chris leads 1-0.
Okay.
All right. Here's your first one of the second pair.
All right.
And we have Big Fish, 2003, drama, fantasy, 2 hours, 5 minutes. When Edward Bloom, Albert Finney, becomes ill, his son William, Billy Crudup, Billy Crudup, travels to be with him. William has a strained relationship with Edward because his father has always told exaggerated stories about his life, and William thinks he's never really told the truth. Even on his deathbed, Edward recounts fantastical anecdotes. When William, who is a journalist, starts to investigate his father's tales, he begins to understand the man and his penchant for storytelling.
You probably got some stories you've told that people wouldn't believe.
Some of them were so stupid they got to be true.
I'll have to get to that one about you losing all that money that one time.
Oh, God.
All right. First one, Big Fish. Your second one?
Next, Big Trouble in Little China, 1986. Action romance, 1 hour, 39 minutes. Kurt Russell plays hard-boiled truck driver Jack Burton, who gets caught in a bizarre conflict within and underneath San Francisco's Chinatown. An ancient Chinese prince and Chinatown grime lord has kidnapped a beautiful green-eyed woman, Susie Pai, who is the fiancée to Jack's best friend, Dennis Dunn. Jack must help his friend rescue the girl before the evil Lo Pan, James Hong, uses her to break the ancient curse that keeps him a fleshless and immortal spirit.
All right. There's your two. You got an idea?
This one's tough because I haven't seen Big Trouble in Little Chinatown since I was a kid, and I think I loved it. Big Fish. I can't remember if people loved that or felt
People
weird
loved
about
It
it.
was a very good film.
I'm just gonna go with Big Trouble,
I want Big Fish.
All right.
and the theme being big.
Yes, correct.
Oh, yeah.
Travis, you are Big Fish 75, Big Trouble in Little China 77. It's 2-0. You've lost already. That's a shame. After such a good streak you had going,
I did, didn't I?
you're done. It's
Big,
over for
big
you.
Fish?
Yeah, 75. You want to do the next pairing?
Let's go for it.
Okay. Here you go.
Next up, we have Little Nicky, 2000, fantasy, romance, 1 hour, 30 minutes. In a perfect world, he'd be happy to head bang in his room all day to heavy metal music. But no, his mom is an angel, Reese Witherspoon. His old man is the devil, Harvey Keitel. And like all good fathers, he insists that Nicky, Adam Sandler, get involved in the family business. Nicky could think of 666 things he'd rather be doing than corrupting souls and spewing evil. But when his father's command over Hades is threatened by his bullying older brothers, it is up to unbalanced Nicky to restore the balance between good and evil on Earth. Saw that the other day. What a cavalcade of stars. I remember seeing Rodney Dangerfield, and I saw him once. Oh, yeah. My friend Tom Conway from the Bronx, I was staying at my grandfather's house in Queens, and we went to school down in Santa Fe together. I was in for the summer. He says, hey, we're going out tonight. I said, where are we going? It's some secret. Don't worry about it. Just bring some money. We go down, he picks me up, and we go down to a Dangerfield that just opened its own comedy club in New York City, down in Manhattan somewhere. And who was playing that night but Rodney Dangerfield? 2-drink minimum. My stomach hurt for 3 days. That was the funniest thing I ever saw. Pure fucking unbelievable.
All right. Time Sean saw Rodney Dangerfield.
Okay.
And don't forget that he also saw Bob Dylan in the Kinks play in London, if you remember that story. He's been around a bit. All right, Little Nicky's your first one. Your second one?
Next to Little Rascals, 1994, romance comedy, 1 hour, 28 minutes. Mischievous youngsters Spanky, Travis Tedford, and Buckwheat, Russ Elliott Bagley, lead an anti-girl organization, and they pick their buddy Alfalfa, Bug Hall, to represent them in an all-important soapbox car rally. When the boys then find their driver canoodling with schoolmate Darla, Brittany Ashton Holmes, they decide they must break up the couple. Unfortunately, while Spanky and his pals are busy meddling in Alfalfa's affair, their prize race car is nabbed by two young toughs.
There
Is
you
that
go.
Tufts or Tufts?
Toughs.
I love that term.
Yeah,
Toughs.
yeah, tough, huh?
You're tough.
Sounds old school.
It does, and it's also a way of saying you a bitch.
A couple of toughs, I see.
Calling someone a bitch without calling them a bitch. Oh, he's a tough, huh?
Oh, you're tough.
Little toughie.
The Little Rascals and Little Nicky. Obviously, the theme is
Adam Sandler, because he was, of course, Alfalfa in Little Rascals.
the theme is little.
Little shit.
We went from big to little.
It's got to be Little Rascals.
Okay. Chris?
I'm gonna team up with Travis on this one, just to keep my record intact.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, dog.
What'd you guess? Little Rascals? 23. Little Nicky's a 22.
Jesus.
Yeah. Both.
That's not fair for Little Rascals. Little Rascals is a kid's movie, so it shouldn't be that low. Little Nicky was adults doing adult shit.
The Devil's Son coming to Earth.
I guess that could have been made for kids. Too.
Okay. Yeah, whatever you think. I'm going to keep the seventh one, the tiebreak. I'm going to pocket that one for next week.
Okay. Very well. Congratulations, Chris, with the gentleman sweep.
A gentleman's sweep. Anytime you put gentlemen's in front of something.
Gentleman sweep.
Yeah. This is what I call a gentleman's tip. It's 15%, sir.
Well done. Shout out to Sean. Thank you so much, Sean. Sean has been a great part of this show.
We
Great
got a
addition
few of them left.
to this show. So we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna really air this bad boy out.
Are we?
I can't wait. I don't know. Probably not. Like I said, I think I'm just gonna go
Be
home and go
careful.
to bed.
You got to apply to jobs still.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
That's why I have, went off on my. I want to let everyone know where I stand on my list of 5.
there you go. That's fair. Just certain parts of the area that you probably wouldn't want to apply. You're probably not going to be applying to any person in Chesterfield County anytime soon, are you?
I already have a shirt, so I probably don't want me there. I tell them, yeah, I'll come work out there as soon as the Metrolink comes through. They'll be like, yeah, I didn't think so. So you know what? Leave me alone.
I appreciate Sean. No, Sean's the best. Appreciate the folks like even Dr. Ed who couldn't be here with us today. I just appreciate the folks we've been able to have on this show, especially since we've gone to this particular format. So I want to thank them while we have the moment too, for all those folks who have been by our side, especially the Dr. Eds of the world. Dr. Ed came aboard, I guess we could say officially 2 years ago.
Something like that, yeah.
And not only has he been a great sponsor of our show, but he's just been just even a better person. We've become friends even over the years. We can actually text each other from time to time.
Don't text him.
I try. I don't. It's literally I
Hey,
only text
hey,
if Dr.
Ed.
Ed texts me. I never
If
go out
this-
of my way to give him
if
my
this bump-
bullshit text.
If this bump was
On a dog,
this bump
how would
was
you
on
treat
a dog,
this?
and he met a female dog at a place that's not that nice. But if this bump showed up 8 to 12 hours later, what would you tell that dog's owner?
Put him
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But we'll have plenty of time to talk about the quote unquote past of what was We Are Live.
Oh
but-
yeah, we got a few weeks. We'll have some fun.
But
With it.
like we said, we talked about it yesterday. It's always great. It was one of the things that I've enjoyed is obviously meeting the people, but being able to not only expose our audience to acts that we enjoy or people we enjoy being around, having the conversations that we really enjoy talking about, but meeting these people where these conversations are taking place. Again, meeting the Yale Hollanders of the world, the Rafe Williams, the Chris Sears of the world, like people who are not just like-minded, but are just ambitious and excited about life and excited about what they do. And it's very easy for us, especially at our age and especially now for this generation, to be very cynical about a lot of
And
things.
I had a lot of fun when Sam would come in on Fridays.
Sam Lyons, what a beauty. Sam Lyons, I didn't know Sam Lyons from Jump until we started doing the comedy at Southside. And Sam has just been a delight. It was really heartbreaking. Like I was like, I'm happy you're getting more money at a job that's reliable and stable, but damn, we were just kicking it up a notch. So he's another person that it's just everyone we've had an opportunity to work with, the Carly Lawrences of the world, the Michael Gaineses of the world. We've had an opportunity to meet
See
some
what Gaines'
really fun
schedule's
people.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe we'll do the Gaines thing. Maybe we'll just hang out with Michael Gaines.
we can do a look back.
We should have him
We've
come
had,
on.
man, think about it. We've had Ben Hockman on regularly. Jeff Jones is a lot of
Are
fun.
you telling me we're gonna have a reunion show? Or we're gonna do a reunion
Well, we
episode?
should do like
Well, I mean,
one
you
at a
two,
time.
you two are a huge part. I mean, obviously, Travis and I started the show together. Instead of doing a podcast in my living room, we were idiots and thought, you know what? Let's try radio and work really hard at it. We've had a lot of fun people over the years, and people have went on to do stuff. So yeah, we'll have some cool stuff
I'll
planned.
check with
barring
Jeff.
schedules. Yeah.
I mean, Jeff
Jones. We've had so many great
Jeff
people. be
really
a part
likes
of this
movies.
podcast.
We got Academy Awards coming up. Spring training's
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing,
on
too.
the horizon. There's reasons to begin with to
Yeah.
have people in.
Hey,
And
man,
and the show, like, just to be clear too, like, We Are Live still going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be different. It's we have a bunch of cool events we're working on, all that good stuff. Point is, end of a season or
Say
era,
good stuff.
good stuff.
There you go.
So no, but I think we should celebrate that and have some fun with it.
Yeah, we'll see if Gaines can come in one day.
That'd be delightful. We just have Gaines, Jones, and Giamatti, and just
There's not enough microphones. For all
there's
that.
just I don't think it's not enough room in this damn studio for those three.
Giamatti,
Oh,
we
wow,
could talk
that's
about what's that music he likes? EDM.
Yeah.
He always gave me EDM suggestions. When
I
would
mean,
ask for them.
here's the thing that I am going to be sad about is that people won't be able to further their careers from the wall bump.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? So we have absolutely accelerated the lives and careers of so many people over the last 4 years. I just don't know what that accelerant's going to be for these future acts going forward. The things we've done, like look, we made Yale into a
that's
star.
why you're sad.
I am sad because we made so many people into stars. We created.
I'm
these
a
people.
star maker.
We created Matt Whitener. We created Michael Gaines. We created Hannah Yates. We created Jeff Jones. We created Gartner 2.0. We created these people.
I was gonna say I've been in the media industry for 19 years.
It's been longer than
I was thinking about this the other day.
since I've been out of high school.
I've been like, I've been doing this shit for 19 years now. I'm like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Like, it seriously caught me off guard. Because here's one thing that's weird to me. I was like, okay, well, I might need to, find something legit job, not legit, but like different job wise, one that requires something. And that something was a resume because I realized I had not making a resume in 10 years because everything that I've done has been word of mouth, networking, sitting down to do an interview.
Right.
It's never, or hey, what's your availability? Or hey, are you interested in this? Reaching out. It's never involved putting a resume in front of anyone. And I'm like, I don't know where I was when.
Right.
I had to call 3 people one day
Right.
and to get the timeline right for
Right.
like the last 12 years of my life. So it was like a walk through. It was also a realization too of what you've been doing career-wise with the last 10 years of your life. And then it's like, oh wait, I've been doing this for 19 years. I don't know what to think about that.
But I think, and even just like I said, just in future episodes as we go forward towards the February 15th date, I think that transition isn't, in 2020 is kind of a theme for a lot of people, not just you and I, or even people in our industry, but a lot of people you are recently seeing who have been in careers for 10, 20 years, who decide, all right, I want to switch to something else, oftentimes an entirely different career. And so I think that's the unique thing about it. I feel like that is the new way forward in this country.
Yeah,
is that
not
nobody
many people seek out doorman jobs. Like
no,
I
they do
though.
not, especially in 2020. Especially when most doors and security systems are automatic or
Who's going to
computerized.
get your packages?
That's also very true. There's
Who's going to keep that in order?
they generally have tracking for that too, and they can often deliver to your offices or
Who's going to
after
say,
hours.
"Oh, good afternoon, Dr. Ferguson. Welcome back from Zurich."
Probably a robot created by Elon Musk in 2 years.
Damn it!
It's gonna happen. But I think that is unique. I think that's funny. We aren't the only people who make transitions after a long stint.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be fun.
Is it?
Well, living under a park bench won't be exciting, but
Maybe we could turn
You're
into.
transitioning?
well, I want to try.
Maybe we can make a podcast of us looking for work.
That may work.
Everything's a podcast.
Everything's a podcast. Why the hell not?
Everything's a segment. Everything's a podcast. Just about how you package it.
Who are you getting shout outs to today, my friend?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, there's a certain lady I want to give a shout out to.
Okay.
If that's okay with
Man,
you.
please. I would love to. There she is.
They love my watermelon, cause you know they're just so sweet. Red or yellow meat, my prices can't be beat. They the best in the land. One bite you understand. Trust me, I ain't playing. One taste and you'll be saying, You love
They
my
love my
watermelon.
watermelon.
Her.
I think she may be still alive. So
She's. It seems that way. I can't say for sure, but
well, we're
I
not
have
certain.
no information that tells me
Yeah,
otherwise.
That's very true. Love a watermelon. Shout out to there's not too many silver linings in a lot of things these days, but I love the hashtag girl dad.
Oh, yeah, I
that's
saw
trending
that.
now. After the story about Kobe Bryant, calling himself a girl dad and how excited he was to be a father. I think that's really cool. I mean, I think watching the evolution of people emotionally handle this tragedy has been unique for me because it is raw. It doesn't feel calculated. It doesn't feel like people are putting on tears just for show. It truly feels like people are sad and people are hurt and people are like I said, I don't want to go as far as to put it on a level like a 9/11, but it just feels like such a tragedy of the magnitude that everyone we don't have answers, and even if we did have answers, it still doesn't help. And so if there has been a silver lining to see these dads who raise these beautiful daughters come forward to tell their stories about how much they love their loved ones, I think social media, as much as it can be a cesspool of just bullshit, and we know that it can be, and it doesn't mean that after this tragedy it won't return to such. But it is great to see that people can rally around something and find some level of support. We saw, of course, the ceremony down here in St. Louis at Keener Plaza. It just feels like right now, this is one of the few times where I think as a country, for the most part, not everyone, of course, but it feels like as a country, for the most part, we're just like, we're all collectively sad, but we are going to lean on each other to find a way through it. And I think that does say something about humanity. I think, and that's not saying, Chris, that it's going to be world peace and we're going to clean up the environment tomorrow morning, but it is in a world where it just feels like no one gives a shit. It's good to see people unapologetically give a shit, you know? And then again, like I said,
No, I get it.
we know Kobe's story is complicated. I get that. I just still think the outpouring of emotion that we're seeing, especially we saw with Shaq yesterday on TNT, that was tough. You got this mountain of a man, a guy that we know back in the day, him and Kobe used to have beef, but to see him talk about Kobe, to see him break down, to see the great Jerry West. Oh, man, that hurt. The great Jerry West, the guy who went after Kobe, who drafted Kobe, who made the trade for Vlade Divac to Charlotte to bring Kobe to L.A., he talked about how his son was Kobe's best friend. Jerry West's son would drive him around L.A. when he first came to the Lakers. So you see the community, you see the family, and you just, again, it's very easy to be cynical now. It's very easy to be a smartass and snarky, and a lot of times there's a reason for it. But it's for at least however the time lasts, it feels like people are kind of grieving together, and I hope the silver lining from all this, aside from girl dad hashtag, is that we start to appreciate each other more. We start to treat each other with just a little bit more respect. We try to care about each other just a little bit more. I'm not saying completely alter your life, but just, even Shaq talked about it. He's like, I called the people that I had these disputes with, and we just talked it out. It wasn't long. It was just, I picked up the phone, people who I may have had quote unquote beef with. We talked, we apologized. He said, you don't want to leave this earth or have that person leave this earth with that hanging over your head. And he's right. And you don't necessarily need the death of Kobe Bryant for you to appreciate that. But sometimes it takes something of this magnitude to kind of bring us back to our senses. And honestly, considering where we are as people, considering where we are as country, coming back to our senses in any way, shape, or form, I think is very important. So that's my shout out today.
There you have it. Big thanks to our friends at Gateway Powder Coating. Be sure to come out to comedy at Sophie's tomorrow night. We got a great lineup for you. Gastro Pit as well. Very excited about that. And then Saturday, the Bacchanalian Ball. Travis and I will be hosting that. Get tickets online through Soulard Mardi Gras. An absolute pleasure to host that. So we're excited to do that. And let us know if you want $10 off. We've got codes for that. For Travis, for Gardner, we're back live tomorrow, 8 a.m. See you then.
Peace.